Welcome to this edition of City Spotlight. I'm Mayor Frank County, and here we are at Union Park at East 9th and Thompson. Today we're going to talk to Chad and Halffill with Indigo Dawn about some of the green projects they're doing, and we're also going to talk to Callie Leao Courtwright, who's with the Parks and Recreation Department. We're going to hear what's going to happen with the Trash Bash. So stick with us. We're going to have a great show. We'll be right back. Visit Des Moines, we have it all. Welcome back. I'm Mayor Frank County, and it's often said that April showers bring May flowers, and this is true, but the month of April also brings environmental consciousness. And we have Earth Day coming up, and the City of Des Moines, in partnership with other organizations, has taken part in this event for a number of years. And with me now is Callie Leao Courtwright of the Parks and Recreation Department. And why don't you tell us about it? Tell us a little about what's going on with Earth Day this year.
Okay, well, Earth Day Trash Bash, we've been doing it for a number of years, but it's an opportunity for volunteers to get out in the community and help clear away winter debris, pick up litter, plant flowers, and just beautify our parks and our trails and our cemeteries and other natural areas.
Well, other than the mayor's team, tell us about some of the other organizations, because it seems like every year we have a larger and larger turnout from neighborhoods and corporations. Who are they? How do you get them to participate?
Sure. There are people from all walks of life that come out and volunteer for our community. We've had, over in the past 2 years, we've had over 3,000 volunteers participate in Earth Day Trash Bash from 45 businesses and organizations in the community. So we've grown quite a bit.
How much trash do you guys get during this trash bash?
Last year we cleaned up over 10,000 pounds of trash and recyclables that we found in the community. It's a little bit more every year, and we couldn't do it thanks to our sponsors and our partners. We all can get out there and clean up the trash. So. Do
you concentrate just in certain areas, or do you go out all over the city, or it just depends on who your partners are?
We are going out all over the city of Des Moines. Originally we had started downtown, and we expanded to Grays Lake and McCrae Park a couple years ago, and then last year we expanded out to 50 different areas in Des Moines that we identified with the Parks and Recreation Department, and this year we're even expanding further, and we're going to be partnering with Polk County Conservation, so it'll be the city and the county working together.
They find any interesting stuff out there while they're collecting trash?
We do. We find everything from whole sponge cakes to clocks, all kinds of items out there, and so we have all kinds of awards that people compete for.
Well, talk to us about that. What kind of awards do they get during the collection?
Well, what happens are the volunteers go out to the different parks and areas to help clean up, and there are 5 different awards that they can compete for. Finders Keepers, which is the most unusual items. Littlest Litter, which is the smallest. They also compete for Team Spirit, so corporations, businesses, organizations can decorate themselves, wear corporate t-shirts or whatever, just to show their team spirit. There's also the Big Butowski, which is finding the most cigarette butts. And the Science Center last year picked up 4.5 pounds of cigarette butts. So we use that as an educational opportunity for the community to know that that's litter
Well, let's
as
talk about that just a little bit. So you do more than just clean up trash. You're out there doing some other things. Talk to us about the different aspects of what you're trying to accomplish through this event.
We've even expanded from cleaning up litter and winter debris to now we are out there helping create wildlife habitat by removing invasive species in parks such as Gray's Lake. So we've had volunteers come out and cut out weedy trees or remove species that compete with our native plants for space and food and water.
You talked a minute ago about awards. Do they get individual awards, group awards, neighborhood awards? How do you do it, and what do some of the awards look like?
Sure. Well, that's a good question. Last year we also expanded to have our first Earth Day Trash Bash Youth Art Contest, and so the downtown school competed, and the students created sculptures related to Earth Day and the environment. And so
out of the trash?
Out of recycled trash.
Wow.
And so then they handed out the winners from that were judged by local artists in the community, and they brought those down to Simon Estes Amphitheater for the bash portion of it afterwards. And they handed those out as the 5 awards, the Finders Keepers, the Big Butowski, those different awards that people compete for. So what happens is everyone goes out to the parks, they help clean up, they collect unusual trash for their entries. Everybody comes back down to Simon Estes for the bash, and they put out all of their entries on the tables, and we have some local celebrity judges come out, judge the entries, and then pick the winners, and they announce it. They take a break from the music during the bash, and they announce the winners and hand out the awards.
If somebody wants to sign up for this, how do they do it? Do they have to have a team? Can they do it individually? Let our viewers know how they can get involved.
Sure. Everybody can get involved. If you're an individual, we collect individual names and create a team out of individuals. We also can accept corporate teams and what they want to do, or businesses or other nonprofit organizations get together, decide who's going to be a co-captain or a captain of your team, and register online at dmparks.org, or email us at parksvolunteer@dmgov.org, or they can call us at 248-6380 to sign up.
All right. How long have you been with the Parks Department?
I have been with the Parks Department for a couple years now.
All right.
So.
And you came from Las Vegas.
I did come from Las Vegas.
Talk about how you feel about Des Moines versus Las Vegas, and what the lifestyle is here compared to there.
Sure. I came from Las Vegas. It's very different. It was a great learning opportunity. I originally grew up in Iowa, and I moved out there and decided it was time to come back home. Des Moines had changed so much, and it offered wonderful opportunities for business-wise. My husband transferred here with Wells Fargo, and it was a great place to raise our children and get involved in the community, and so we were glad to move back to Des Moines.
You were from Iowa originally? Where were you from?
Muscatine in southeastern Iowa.
All right.
So it's like coming home.
Absolutely. And, of course, we have worked so hard, and, of course, Parks has been a huge participant through the years in making the change, and not only in finding different ways to handle the parks and have native grasses and native plantings and all those kinds of things. How have you seen those kinds of things? You said it was noticeable. What transitions did you notice coming back here?
Well, it's transitions, like you said, the Parks Department is looking at different environmental opportunities. They've expanded my role as Parks and Recreation Supervisor of Volunteer Programs. Now I also am in charge of supervising our environmental education programs. So we're trying to offer more opportunities for the public to learn about what kinds of resources that the city has to offer related to natural resources as well. So we're doing many things from managing native plants and prairie areas, savannas, to environmental education opportunities such as John Bissell, one of our volunteers, is offering birding opportunities every week on Wednesdays from 11 to 11:45 at Gray's Lake. to family night at the community center, offering opportunities for families to come in and meet with SOAR, which is Saving Our Avian Resources, to get an up close and personal encounter with raptors that have been injured, learn about Iowa raptors, which are birds, and things from inviting naturalists in to talk to them, or we'll be offering nature's play dates coming up soon. So that's an opportunity for unstructured play, but meeting up with other people in the community that want to get out and enjoy the city and what it has to offer.
Let's go back real quickly to Trash Bash and Earth Day. Let's tell everybody when it is.
Sure.
And then also let's talk a little bit about that entertainment aspect, because often you have bands and some other things. Tell us about the event and the day specifically again.
Sure. We are planning, thanks to our sponsors such as Wells Fargo and Waste Management and Metro Waste Authority, we're planning on having entertainment at the Bash, which is after the cleanup. The cleanup is on April 22nd, which is Earth Day, which is a Friday afternoon. It'll start at 1 and it will go to about 5 o'clock, the entertainment will.
And where will it be? Where does it? It's going to be down at Simon Estes again?
Yes, the entertainment will be down at Simon Estes Amphitheater again.
Again, let us know exactly who they contact. You've got the website. You got a phone number.
They can contact us through 515-248-6380 through phone, or they can email us at parksvolunteer@dmgov.org, or they can go to our website, which is dmparks.org.
Well, we certainly urge everybody in Des Moines to get out. It's a great event. It's a lot of fun. Plus, it helps clean up our city and make it a great place to live. Callie, welcome back to Des Moines, and we're sure glad you're here.
Sure.
Thanks for being
inviting
on
us.
City Spotlight. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I hope you found something on the community calendar that is inspiring for you and your family, and found something to do in and around Des Moines this month. With me now is Chadden Halffill from Indigo Dawn. Chadden, welcome to City Spotlight. And you've been so active in so many of the green, especially in the building sector and remodeling sector, movement Let's talk a little bit about that and maybe some of your current projects.
I'm glad to. Thank you. Well, obviously the current project is Green in Maine. I think prior to that, I helped co-found a Center on Sustainable Communities, and of course helped build awareness for green building and green remodeling in the metro area. I think it's very important to me.
Has it been an easy sell? I mean, is everybody just picking right up on it and say, "Oh yeah, we want to go do that," or has it been sort of a little longer process than you'd imagine?
I think everything's a process, and the trick is being patient enough to watch it unfold. It's taken some time. I mean, there are people that are rightly just right in behind it. There's others that are cautious, and there's a lot of information to be conveyed yet in terms of best practices within the renovation process. I think homeowners are slowly starting to pick it up as an interest, and I think there's a lot more awareness towards both disciplines like energy efficiency, but also product selections and indoor air quality. I think
let's talk about that specifically. What is it that you think that our viewers and the citizens of the city of Des Moines and our metro area need to know about green living, energy efficiency, those kinds of things? What aspects go into what you do that makes it different than the old-time conventional model of the last 40 years?
Good questions. Most important thing, I think they're all important. I think the most important thing that if I were to talk with somebody for the first time, the thing I would want them to take away would be to understand that a house is very complex and that it's full of lots of systems. And building something well and to last, something that's durable, is a great starting point. But I think one of the things that the more complex houses have become, and the more we understand about how houses work, and the more technologies we integrate with our houses, the more one thing can impact lots of other things. And that's what I mean by lots of systems that overlap and work together. I think knowing that, the decisions we make to change one thing can have a great impact on the house. And if we know that, then we'll understand that when we purchase something or when we renovate something, we have to really begin to understand how the building's going to work and what kind of impacts we might have. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, what does the homeowner want to take away? They want to save on their bill, or they want it to be healthier, or how do you convince somebody that this is a good idea rather than just the least expensive construction method that they could find?
Well, I think health is one of them. Comfort is another one. People don't buy necessarily on energy efficiency, or they might make a decision on cost of savings, like in terms of weatherization or in terms of improving the efficiency of a home. But I think ultimately they'll make a decision on comfort, improving airflow in a house so that they're less cold, for example. Indoor air quality or health is, I think, are really important. And that's why I was talking about the systems, because in older homes, and I think Des Moines as a general rule has an older housing stock. It's not a suburban housing stock. So when we look at old houses from the neighborhood we're in now today here at Union Park, or whether it's Drake or whether it's the South Side, all these houses were built 20, 30, 40, 50, up to 100 years ago. And each era has different issues. And so if you change something in a combustion furnace, in a house, tighten it up, for example, to make it more efficient, but you have a combustion-based furnace, you have safety issues. You have health issues. That's what I mean by you make the change here, it has impact over here, and understanding what those impacts are. So I guess at the end of the day, a homeowner is going to want to know about safety. They're going to want to know about health. They're going to want to know about the impact, the long-term financial impact. Not does it cost X now, but will it cost less to operate the house, or are there potential pitfalls? One of the other things that I think people don't realize is that you make a change and you think it's the silver bullet, and in fact, it might cause other problems if you don't do it properly. Types of insulation solutions that may create water problems, and water is one of the more devastating not devastating, but it can have negative impacts on a house. Vapor drive, and we'll get too technical for today's show.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's very important to understand that one solution doesn't always solve all problems, and they can potentially create more problems.
I go out into neighborhoods and we talk to neighbors in town hall meetings or neighborhood meetings individually. Everybody seems to be somewhat excited about doing something. But at the same time, they seem to be somewhat concerned about affordability. How do I do this, when I'm trying to make my house payment, I'm trying to make my insurance payment, I'm trying to put food on the table? How do we build affordability into it, or is there a model that you can put out there and say, from that aspect, from your fiscal ability or financial ability to be able to make this work, you really can't afford not to do it? I mean, can you make that kind of an argument?
That is probably at the core and the most challenging aspects of our industry right now, is how to upgrade houses, optimize them from an efficiency level at a cost that people can afford.
Mm-hmm. What are the first things that you would suggest somebody to do to be on that model that wouldn't take them over the edge?
First thing, and probably the biggest impact, would be air sealing the attic space. Air infiltration is a big item. You obviously have to look at what happens if you seal up a house, and there's other issues with regards to combustion air and things of that nature. And that's the hard part, is the more you tighten it up, the more you have impacts. But the first thing I would look at is the attic space has the biggest potential to lose air and lose energy as a result of that, and heat gain or heat loss. So that would be a very, very almost a first look, and without getting into the science of it, it has a lot to do with how just physics push air up.
How air rises, and yeah.
What kind of? It's really to do with more with pressure, and I'm trying to avoid getting too technical, but it's stack effect, and just the basic physics of a house is if you want to have something that controls hot air from just moving up as a result of just pressure differentials between the basement and the top floor.
Okay.
So,
Should they look at a more
insulating.
efficient furnace as well? I mean, is that a place to go? But sometimes that's pretty expensive.
That can be very expensive, and that's why I look at the air sealing, because air sealing, as a general rule, doesn't need to be that expensive, and it can have major impact.
Okay.
I mean, occasionally furnaces need to be changed, but optimizing a furnace doesn't necessarily make the house more efficient.
Right.
I'm more of I take the position that you want to look at the building envelope or the building enclosure, the walls, the roof system, the basement walls, the windows, the doors, and look at improving their efficiency as a whole.
Okay.
Before you start looking at a furnace, because it might be that optimizes mechanical system. Obviously, if a mechanical system is in bad shape, it needs to be replaced. But what they're finding, as I understand it, that a lot of the existing systems are in good shape. They're just running very inefficiently.
Okay.
And so sometimes it's a matter of just improving or recalibrating the system you have in your house, and you can get more bang for your dollar for improving the efficiency of the attic space.
Envelope, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's talk quickly about your Indigo Dawn is doing a project with the city of Des Moines. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, it's interesting in comparison to something as a simple solution, because we've chosen a different route, which was we are striving to set an example and a high level of efficiency. So it would be more of a gut rehab,
Sure.
where we completely take the entire building envelope or building enclosure and optimize it to be as efficient as possible before we add the mechanical systems, before we add the other things. And so That's a much more comprehensive approach, but since the building was sitting empty and the building is from 1933 and didn't really have any insulation, that was the priority for us. So that building has kind of multiple purposes for me. It's about taking an old building in an urban center and revitalizing it. It's trying to help.
What was it originally, and you're going to adaptively reuse it, and so what will it be?
Well, it was originally a grocery store.
Okay.
In fact, there was a Victorian originally. If you want to go back to the turn of the last century, it would have been a Victorian that started out as a grocery store on the front porch, and then 1933 they added the storefront, which is the building that stands there now, and then they tore down the Victorian. And in building the addition, we've been digging that out the last few weeks. We actually had to excavate the old foundation from the Victorian, so it was kind of neat to see all the walls and the floors that were originally there. In fact, if I'd thought about it, I would have brought you the original. I had a sill plate from the window. The guy who crafted the window storefront. The old storefront's still there, and so eventually, in the next few months, we'll actually open the wall up on the front, and you'll see the old window storefront.
Okay.
So,
that's what it was. What's the intended use moving forward now?
The intended use is moving into more of an office space. It will be a women's clinic. So the idea being that retail probably isn't going to hold well in a residential. Most people are going elsewhere for retail. But we thought an office or a service of that sort would work well in that unit. We'll still keep the residential part upstairs because it's a mixed-use building.
Okay.
We're just going to convert the 3 smaller apartments into 1 larger apartment, and that way we have less tenancy issues. And then the first floor will be a women's clinic.
Now you're also educating people as you go through the process. So are you doing classes at the Green and Main project and showing people what's going on in there?
Yes, very much, and that's always been a very high importance to us. And we've started a class last month, and we just had a presentation last week, and we've been in this particular series we're partnering with Center on Sustainable Communities to do a presentation both on the techniques of green remodeling and using the backdrop of Green and Main to talk about them with.
Okay.
And this last week we talked a lot more about historic preservation and funding a project like this, which it's a very comprehensive endeavor.
Are these all separate classes, or can somebody come and attend one?
You can attend one. We're going to do a whole series of different types of classes too. This just happens to be a series of 6, but you can come in just for one.
How does somebody get awareness of it? How do they contact you or find out about these classes?
We can go to our website at www.greenandmain.org. Okay. You can go to Center on Sustainable Communities for that series, and that's ICOSC.com.
Okay.
Then we'll post to our website regularly because we're going to do some lunch and learns. The USGBC is hosting a breakfast in May. If you go to the National Main Street Conference, it's coming to Des Moines here in May, and Des Moines will be a host for that. We'll be on the Sherman Hill walking tour that week. So the project will visit about 3 projects, ours being one of them, and it'll be midstream. We'll have the walls up to the addition. We'll probably have the window open, which is one of our goals. We'll have, if everything goes well, we'll have a vegetated roof on top.
Okay.
So.
And when is that the tour, the house tour?
The house tour is in May.
Okay.
I think it's the second to last week or the last week of May. I think around the 20th, 24th, somewhere near.
All right.
It's on the website.
Great. Chad, thank you so much, and thank you for everything that you're doing to turn this city green and let people know how they can do it themselves.
My pleasure. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Well, that wraps up this edition of City Spotlight. I hope you'll stick with us. And until next time, I'm Mayor Frank County, and this is City Spotlight.